This will be the biggest ever winter window. We've had some big deals already and a few more still to come. The latest information we have tonight is that Arsenal have now reached an agreement in principle with Borussia Dortmund over Pierre-Emerick Aubamayeng. The deal understood to be worth around £60 million, but there remains a big if. That's because it is still subject to Dortmund securing a replacement. Our colleagues in Italy say that an agreement has been reached between Arsenal and Aubamayeng, but of course this could only be formally approved when paperwork is signed between both clubs. A deal has yet to be signed. A reminder that the transfer window in Germany closes at 5 p.m. on Wednesday night, 6 hours before the window here in England. It gives them a tighter deadline to sign a replacement. To developments involving Aymeric Laporte. He said goodbye to Athletic Bilbao after the club confirms his release clause has been triggered. We understand he's flying to Manchester tonight to finalise his move. Release clause, £57 million, which would be a new transfer record for City. Once he has his medical, he's expected to sign a 5-year deal with Pep Guardiola's side. And big developments tonight involving Tottenham. We understand they've now reached an agreement to sign the Paris Saint-Germain winger Lucas Moura. It's subject to personal terms and a medical. Still, we're told the fee around £25 million. Borussia Dortmund had wanted Moura as well, but he very much is believed to favour a move to Tottenham. So big deals still on the table here. There have been developments today over Daniel Sturridge at Liverpool. Inter Milan, Newcastle were interested. One source has told us today that he has chosen a move to West Brom, though for family reasons. We understand the deal could be concluded later tonight. Liverpool's manager was asked about him a few hours ago.
In the next 3 days, probably there will happen a lot in the transfer market, and we will see what happens here. But nothing else to say about that. So, how you can imagine, even if there would be something, it wouldn't help us or Daniel or another club to make the deal. So that's why it makes no sense to talk about it.
Well, we understand that if West Brom complete the loan signing of Sturridge, they'll end their interest in the Watford striker Troy Deeney. As things stand, negotiations for Deeney very much on hold. Now, our colleagues in Italy are reporting that Emerson Palmieri heading to Chelsea from Roma. They say the overall deal worth around £24.5 million. He's expected to leave tomorrow to have a medical in London. They also believe that a deal for Edin Dzeko is off. Understood an agreement couldn't be reached personal terms and the length of contract. Dzeko started for Roma last night. Their supporters made their feelings pretty clear, didn't they? Angry that their owners were even considering selling their number one striker. And Jose Mourinho says that he will not stand in Zlatan Ibrahimovic's way if he wants to leave Manchester United. Ibrahimovic has been heavily linked with a move to LA Galaxy, but Mourinho believes that the former Swedish international focused on helping United for the rest of the season.
You know, Zlatan is in the last year of contract. He said nothing about it to me. But if that is true, and Zlatan wants a future in another club in another country, we are here to help and to create conditions for that to happen, not to make his life difficult.
Well, Mourinho also reiterated that Marwan Fellaini wants to stay at the club. Fellaini's contract expires at the end of the season, and Mourinho claims he's hopeful he will sign a new deal.
There is a desire from myself, the board, and the player to stay together. That's our objective. Are we going to reach? Are we going to agree? I don't know, but what I know is that myself, the board and the player, we would like to have a happy end.
Everton have received offers for David Klaassen. He's moved to the club for £23 million last summer, but Everton now prepared to let him go. The same applies to his teammate Sandro Ramirez, who's played in only 8 league games this season.
I think we've had a number of inquiries that are not suitable to us to allow the player to leave. Nearly all of them on loan. None I believe is permanent, so we haven't accepted any deal yet.
Well, Everton have spent more than £45 million on Cenk Tosun and Theo Walcott in this transfer window. One big question is whether the club are close to bringing in any further players by 11 p.m. on Wednesday night.
I'm not ruling anybody in or anybody out because it's impossible to do that. What I'm saying is that, you know, the window is open for everybody, and somewhere out of the blue that normally happens at this time appears, whether that's a player for you to bring in or whether that is a player that you didn't expect to go out but is acceptable for the football club for the right reasons.
Expecting plenty of activity here, we're told West Ham want to sign Morgan Schneiderlin, ready to pay £20 million for the Everton midfielder. We understand contact has been made between the clubs. West Ham, of course, without key first-team players, they're working hard to sign a midfielder and a striker before Wednesday's deadline. Fulham captain Tom Kearney continues to attract interest from West Ham in this window. We're told his club have rejected an improved offer of £18 million. Fulham's position on Kearney has been clear this month. They don't want to sell him at all. West Ham also interested in signing the Russia striker Fedor Smolov. He wants to move to London from the Russian Premier League team Krasnodar. West Ham are trying to negotiate a loan with an option to buy for around £12 million. He scored 11 times in 28 games for Russia. And another striker who has been told that he can leave West Ham, Ayew. Swansea have already had a bid of £14 million turned down. We're told they are prepared to bid again. West Ham want close to £20 million, the price they paid Swansea for Ayew 18 months ago. David Moyes didn't discuss specific names in his pre-match news conference earlier today, but he did say that he won't be adding to his squad just for the sake of it.
The priority is to add good players to your squad. What you don't want to do is add players who are actually just going to make a number up, or actually sound good because you media boys need to hear a name or somebody getting brought up. Ultimately, we're short of players just now, so we could do with adding it. But I'm not going to bring people in here who I don't think are going to make a difference to the team.
Well, Jim Kirsty, it has been a busy January so far. A number of clubs still under discussion the final few days of this window. It is an 11 p.m. deadline on Wednesday night. 14 Premier League clubs are in action on that night. They have until midday tomorrow to register new players in time for those games.
Good stuff, Brian. Thanks very much indeed. Let's get to our interview tonight with David Beckham. And speaking at the launch of his Miami MLS franchise, the former United midfielder tells us Zlatan Ibrahimovic could flourish out in America if he decides to leave Manchester United. Well, David Beckham joined Ellie Galaxy, remember, from Real Madrid back in 2003. He said the move would also be a big boost to the league.
It's hard to talk about a player that is part of a club that I love. So, you know, I want the best players to stay in a team that I support, and I want to see win every day and every week. But I think all players at some point get linked with other teams, and Zlatan, you know, he's such a world-class player and a world-class person as well. So if people like him, talented players like him, come into this league, it can only add to the strength and the success of what this league can actually reach. And for me, you know, when I had the chance to go from, you know, I was playing for Real Madrid, and I had the opportunity then to obviously move to the MLS, which wasn't established as it is now. So that was a big move for me. But it's something that changed me as a person, changed me as a player, gave me a challenge that I needed. And I loved every minute of it. So if Zlatan or other players like that come into this league, then it can only add to the success that this league can and the level that this league can get to.
Beckham, who famously wore the number 7 shirt for the majority of his Manchester United career, also had his say on the latest player to wear the club's most iconic number.
It's astonishing that move happened, I think. At the end of the day, you know, when you play for a club as big as Arsenal and then you move to a club as big as Manchester United, you know, it's a big move. So, but to see him in a Manchester United shirt, to see him in the number 7 shirt, which we all know for Manchester United players and fans, the number 7 shirt is the shirt that is amazing. And there's obviously some great players that have worn it over the time: Brian Robson, Eric Cantona, George Best, you know, Ronaldo, Cristiano. So, you know, there's some great players over the time that have worn it. But I think that having him as a player now in the team, you know, can only strengthen us as a team.
Well, United's rivals, Manchester City, are expected to announce the signing of Ayew Laporte very soon, and this deal will push Pep Guardiola's spending towards a very big milestone. In his 1.5 seasons at City, he has bought in 16 players, 6 of whom will have cost over £30 million.
That's right. If they do confirm the signing of Laporte for £57 million, then that will take their spending under Guardiola well past the £400 million mark.